Can the Hyundai Santa Cruz take the place of a traditional mid-sized truck? Oh, anybody need a box TV? Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive MT. So the big question, and not if anybody needs a box TV, did you know you can't actually give these things away? Where I'm at right now, put an ad out on Facebook Marketplace, free. All you have to do is pick it up, and it works fine. Nobody wants it, can't even give it away. And also, what's really frustrating about Facebook Marketplace, people get a hold of you, they tell you they want it, they never show up. Seems to be more the rule than the exception these days. But anyway, we're not on here to talk about big box TVs. Can the Hyundai Santa Cruz really ever take the place of a mid-sized truck? You know, I've been thinking about this, and I have two other mid-sized trucks, I guess, the Tacoma and the Jeep Gladiator. And as I drive each of them, I've been thinking, you know, would I have just a Hyundai Santa Cruz if I didn't have, or in place of, a mid-sized truck? And it really kind of depends. It depends on what you're doing with the truck. First of all, off-roading. You know, if you're a big-time off-roader, you like to go out, hit the more aggressive trails and stuff, you need four-wheel drive, I would say no, it can't. The Hyundai Santa Cruz is not going to take the place of a 4x4 mid-sized truck. You know, I know there are some people that claim that they're doing it, they're out going off-roading in the Santa Cruz, but frankly, I'm thinking they're probably just driving a nice manicured dirt trail, or maybe even a gravel covered trail, something like that. It is all-wheel drive, part-time, but you're not gonna take the Santa Cruz out and run up rutty hills or deep indentations in the terrain, or maybe even vegetation covered terrain. You know, running over little trees and stuff. You're not gonna do that in the Santa Cruz. Frankly, it just does not have the clearance, and it's too low. And look at the wheel well, for example. You know, the stock tires that fit in there barely fit in there. There's no room for stuff to go through or around those tires. Start taking a lot of mud and rock in there, maybe wind around some branches and things, and you're gonna have troubles. There's just not enough room in it. So no, it will not take the place of a 4x4 mid-sized truck when it comes to off-roading. How about in the wintertime? If you live in a winter climate where you get snow and ice and that kind of stuff, yeah, I think it probably could. Although, I would probably throw a little bit of weight in the bed, something to get a little bit of weight on those rear tires. Again, it is all-wheel drive, but you do want something back there to kind of weight it down a little bit. I've experienced that myself with two-wheel drive, traditional mid-sized trucks. You know, I think I probably could have gotten by in the Ohio winters, back when I lived in Ohio, had I just put a little bit of weight in the back of the Tacoma I had, and probably put some more aggressive tires on it. And that's another thing, aggressive tires. You know, I wouldn't put anything crazy on the Santa Cruz. Number one, I just don't think there's enough room. You can't really get something substantial enough that's gonna make that big of a difference. I think putting some weight back there, probably gonna take care of it, and it would be just as good, equivalent to what you would need in winter type conditions. How about hauling stuff around? Now, this is where it really gets tricky, I suppose. You know, technically, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, the bed is only rated for about 600 pounds payload capacity. In other words, you're only supposed to put 600 pounds in that bed. Now, I've seen people that are doing more than that. I've seen somebody who actually filled it up with gravel. They're asking for problems. But it will haul the usual weekend warrior type stuff. You know, if you're gonna go get a few bags of mulch, maybe get a couple of small trees, some bushes, things like that, it's perfectly capable of handling that kind of stuff. And I think generally, folks that have mid-sized trucks are probably using them for those kind of things. Not to say that there aren't people out there that aren't filling the bed with gravel or bulk mulch and things like that. I've done it myself, and I have way exceeded the capacity, the hauling capacity of the truck. But you don't want to take your $40-some thousand Hyundai Santa Cruz to the garden center, have them dump maybe 1.5 of a skid loader bucket in there of rock or even mulch, dirt, I wouldn't do that. But I think it is good enough to get by with what most people most likely use it for. How about families? You know, if you've got a family of 3 or 4, I'm assuming 2 parents and a child or 2, it's probably okay early on. You know, when the kiddies are little, of course, you do have to fit those car seats in the back. And those things are big these days. You know, recently I went to visit my daughter, her husband, my son-in-law, of course, and my brand new granddaughter. And I was amazed at how meaty those car seat carriers are. They take up a lot of space. Now, it's not to say you can't fit them back there, but once you do, you're not going to have much room for anybody else. I mean, if you've got somebody visiting and let's say you want to go somewhere, you're going to have to take 2 vehicles, because once you put a car carrier or 2 back there, you're not going to have much room for anything else. I should say a baby seat carrier. It's been a long time since I had wee little ones, but you're not going to have a lot of room to fit much back there. So I would think either one is probably a problem in this case. They're probably equally not as good. You probably really need some other vehicle, an SUV, maybe a full-size truck. You know, the Toyota Tundra, pre the new Tundra, the redesign, is cavernous back there. You could easily fit a car seat or 2 and another full-size human back there. So you still would have space in something like that. I'm sure the other full-size trucks, the Fords and Chevys and all of those kind of vehicles, could probably handle it just as well. Maybe now, for just 2 people, I think it would be fine. There's plenty of space back there. Maybe you've got Fido that you want to take with you. Grab one of those back seat kind of hammocks that you can put in. Those things are awesome, by the way. You can put the little doggy back there. He can ride in comfort, swinging in the hammock. They don't actually swing, they sit on the seat. But they'd fit back there, and you can take off cross country and you'd be just fine, as long as you can stand to sit in that overly hard seat. I have found that after about maybe 45 minutes to an hour, that seat starts to get a little bit hard. This is where some mid-size trucks are better. The Jeep Gladiator that I have, I rode in for 19 hours almost straight, I think. And that was one way. And it was fine. I never felt like it was too rough, too tough on the rear end to sit back there. So I would probably say you can do it if you're not real sensitive to how soft the seats are. But most likely, something like a Jeep Gladiator is probably going to be a little bit better, and maybe even a Toyota Tacoma. As far as the tech and things like that, I've mentioned that on the channel before. The Hyundai Santa Cruz wins hands down. It's got awesome technology in it, gauge clusters that are actually fun to look at. I wouldn't mind staring at those for several hours. They work great. Of course, it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that stuff. It works really well for me in the truck. Although I will mention there have been some people that have complained about connectivity, and I think that's just the newer model phones. Obviously, when your Santa Cruz is built, it's not going to have all of the latest and greatest tech in it for a phone that just came out yesterday. So beware, it will take some time to catch up, probably will require some sort of a software update. So anyway, can the Hyundai Santa Cruz take the place of mid-sized trucks? Kind of depends on what you're doing with it. I think in most situations, it probably can, or it would at least be equal. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, particularly if you have had both. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive JT, all about Jeep Gladiators. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.